kind of interesting. We're going through MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, and we kind of just pulled up all of their stuff here to kind of take a look at it. And we're looking at one that we don't even know when it was sent on. all we know. They're looking at Thor Dark World from Disney.com, and there's no allegedly infringing URLs. So I find this really kind of interesting. We're going through some of the oldest ones on the map here. We're at 539, so we're towards the end of it in terms of what we're looking for here. You know, sometimes they do include the original URLs, sometimes they don't. What's surprising is how few MPAA ones there are, because you would have figured that they would have been looking for more than a few things here or there. Just a handful from 2013 or from 2003. But some of them are non-structurally compliant, especially the really early ones. I don't know if that's a thing or a reason why they did that, but they were working on behalf of other people. But early on, and in some cases even through to today, they don't have the original URLs. So it's kind of haphazard on how they did this and where they went with it. So I'm really not too sure what what their story is and how they did this. You can obviously tell some of this stuff is pre-form, right? Fourth notice of infringement for a free movie, Exhibit A. Yeah, no URL, no title, just a thing, and then a name, Battlestar Galactica. Things you need to know. So just kind of interesting that we're kind of over a mess here in terms of how the MPAA has implemented their DMCA noticing process. They're not even following the rules. It's non-structurally compliant DMCA notices. And I find that really kind of interesting that you're just kind of throwing a bunch of stuff together into a page and calling it good and seeing where we go with it. And this kind of just keeps on going through the entire process of how this works. Now, especially when you've got no allegedly infringing URLs. I don't know, but hey, MPAA, I don't know, I don't get it, I just live here. You know, going through this database has been an eye-opening experience for non-compliant systems and people. It's almost like they're not taking this thing seriously. They're just kind of going through the motions and spending some money and, oh, hey, I'm making a good faith effort to try to keep my copyright in force, but I'm just going to kind of do it haphazardly and not really try to do the thing, not really try to follow the law, not really try to do the things that I need to do to make this thing work for the organization. And I think that's kind of interesting because we're looking at this from a social responsibility, a social systems and authority standpoint, where if you take a look at this, MPAA obviously is kind of paying lip service to the law, right? And again, you're going to send a notice, you're going to spend the money to send a notice and not even have an allegedly infringing URL. And yeah, you're kind of paying lip service to the law. And you're expecting another company to work on your behalf, but then you're not even telling the other company what they did wrong. So that's kind of like one of those, here, have some ice cream, and then when you reach for the ice cream, they beat you to death. So I'm not really too sure what all they're trying to do here, what the process is or how they're looking at it. But you know, some of these companies that are going through and not doing compliant DMCA notices, I think the thing that makes this really interesting for me is right now the non-compliant percentage. Of all the things that I have looked at in this database, the non-compliant percentage, and these are just people that are missing components, whether it's a date or an original URL or even the infringing URLs, again, can't do anything with that, is about 34% of this entire database, all like 6 million, 7 million records, right? 8 million records. It's a crazy thing. It really is eye-opening in terms of how they kind of go about this. And I kind of like start it. So Digimarc, Mark Monitor, nope, sorry, strike that. Muso, music, anti-piracy, all content. Audio Lock for music is a big one with almost 1.4 million records. And this doesn't include the URLs. This is just the amount of DMCA notices that they put down. And all 1.4 million of them are not structurally compliant. And that's my big one. The Federation Against Copyright, and now RIA does the same thing, and now MPAA, non-compliant. And I'm really curious about this. I'd like to go back and talk to a lawyer and say, hey, if I have this many non-compliance, how do we do this? What's our story here? But again, I'm not working on this. This is for later. Is something to do. It'd be kind of interesting. Is that if you get a DMCA notice, check for compliancy. Check to make sure all the little boxes are filled in according to law. And and if you run into something with no allegedly infringing URLs, yeah, just go for it. Have some fun with it. Just kind of like well, I can't help you out here. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Again, it's a fascinating view into how the law has been implemented by hand, by rote. And I don't think a machine would have seen this unless you were specifically programming the machine to look at a particular thing like this.